And then Allah ends the verse by saying, وَاللَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ كُلَّ كَفَّارٍ أَثِيمٍ, and Allah does not like every excessively sinful, kafar, extremely ungrateful person. Kafar is a superlative form of kafir. Kafir is normal. Kafar is a superlative form of kafir. That's why I translated it as extremely ungrateful. So what does kafar mean? In this verse, it doesn't even mean disbeliever. Again, this is a failure to understand the term kafir. People say that it's a dirty word, it's a derogatory term, but in essence, the word kafir simply means concealer. The word in Arabic, the root term is kafara yakfur, which means to hide, to conceal. That's what it literally means. I'm not playing verbal gymnastics. This is, these are the terms in the original Arabic language and usage. Kafara yakfur means to conceal, to hide. Kafir, the active participle of kafara yakfur, means someone or something which hides, which conceals. That's why in Arabic, night is called kafir. Remember that. Night is called kafir also. A cloud is called kafir. The night hides and conceals. The cloud hides and conceals. It can hide the moon, it can hide the sun. So a cloud is called kafir in classical Arabic. Night is called kafir in classical Arabic. There are so many of the things that are called kafir in common usage in Arabic. A farmer is called a kafir. Now what sin has the poor farmer committed? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, أعجب الكفار كمثل غيث أعجب الكفار نباته. Allah gives the example of the reality of worldly life. And He says the worldly life is, it's a long verse, we don't have time to go into it, but just to explain this part, is like rain which falls from the heavens. And the vegetation that grows as a result of this particular rain, it's pleasing to, so Allah says, كَمَثِلَ غَيْثٍ أَعْجَبَ الْكُفَّارَ نَبَاتُهُ. Its vegetation, its produce, is pleasing to the kuffar. Now what's that supposed to mean? In that verse, specifically the word kuffar, it's not the same as gaffar in this verse. It's kuffar, slightly different. It's a plural of kafir, which doesn't mean a disbeliever or unbeliever. It means a farmer. كَمَثِلَ غَيْثٍ أَعْجَبَ الْكُفَّارَ نَبَاتُهُ, whose vegetation pleases the farmers. So the word kuffar in that verse refers to farmers. The word gaffar here has got nothing to do with belief or disbelief. It's a reference to someone who is extremely ungrateful. So why is a kafir called a kafir? The reason a person is called a kafir is because that person, in the context of belief and disbelief, is because that person conceals the greatest gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When a person refuses to acknowledge the gift of life, the gift of creation, the gift of destiny, the gift of birth, the gift of servitude, of being a servant of Allah, and a person renounces that servitude to Allah and refuses to accept that I am a bondsman, a bondswoman, a servant, or a maid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then that refusal to even acknowledge that position of being part of the creation of Allah Azza wa Jal, that is the ultimate act of ingratitude. And that renunciation, that refusal to acknowledge, that extreme ingratitude is referred to as disbelief. So disbelief is a secondary meaning, which is actually a consequence of the original meaning of the word, which is ingratitude. So Here as well, وَاللَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ كُلَّ كَفَّارٍ أَثِيمٍ. Allah does not like every excessively sinful, ungrateful person. What's the end part of the verse got to do with the original part of the verse? Allah says, يَمْحَقُ اللَّهُ الرِّبَى وَيُرْبِ الصَّدَقَاتِ وَاللَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ كُلَّ كَفَّارٍ أَثِيمٍ. Allah abolishes riba and gives rise and growth and riba to charity, and Allah does not like every sinful, excessively sinful, extremely ungrateful person. What's the latter part of the verse? What does that have to do with the earlier part? It's quite simple. The meaning is, someone who seeks wealth and growth in haram, in the forbidden, someone who seeks wealth, increase and expansion and growth in what Allah has forbidden, someone who seeks growth in what Allah has declared to be impure and does not seek growth in what Allah has declared to be pure, someone who seeks growth, wealth and expansion and increase where Allah has declared that there is nothing but reduction and in fact destruction and loss, and that person does not seek increase, wealth and growth and expansion where Allah says there is true riba, increase and growth, i.e. in charity, then that person is someone who is not just ungrateful to Allah, but excessively and extremely ungrateful to Allah and sinful. That's the relationship of the last part of the verse with the former.